The first body surfaced in October 1997, half buried beneath damp leaves near Hollow Brook's abandoned rail yard. A young woman, later identified as 24-year-old Clara Voss, lay posed in a near-fetal position, her hands clasped as if in prayer. There were no visible wounds, no signs of struggle, only a single strand of twine knotted around her throat. By spring 1999, 3 more victims followed. Marcus Cole, a college dropout turned mechanic, Lydia Shaw, a reclusive bookstore clerk, and Daniel Ruiz, a high school janitor with a penchant for poetry. Each body was discovered in isolated corners of the town, meticulously arranged, their faces eerily serene. The lack of forensic evidence baffled investigators. No fingerprints, no DNA, no tire tracks. The victims seemed unrelated, different ages, backgrounds, and social circles, but as I pored over case files years later, patterns emerged. All 4 had vanished on foggy nights, their last known locations near the town's crumbling post-war infrastructure. A defunct factory, a closed diner, a rusted bridge. They were people who wouldn't be missed immediately, their absences explained away as restless souls chasing escape. The killer didn't just hunt, they curated. What bound the victims beyond geography was a quiet duality. Clara volunteered at a shelter, but battled opioid addiction. Marcus repaired cars by day and scribbled apocalyptic manifestos by night. Lydia's bookstore ledger revealed coded entries hinting at a clandestine relationship. Daniel's co-workers described him burying small, hand-carved figurines in the woods. The killer targeted those living double lives, people whose secrets made them vulnerable and silent. Profilers from Quantico descended in 1999, their analysis dissecting the killer's psyche. The absence of sexual assault or overt violence suggested a perpetrator driven by control, not passion. The twine, identical in each case, was traced to a now defunct textile mill outside Hartford, a deliberate callback to the town's industrial decay. The killer wasn't just murdering, they were erasing Hollow Brook's fading identity, one fractured soul at a time. Serial killers often fall into typologies: the disorganized loner, the charismatic manipulator. This one defied categorization. The precision of the crime scenes indicated meticulous planning, yet the victim's hidden vulnerabilities pointed to a predator who observed without engaging. They weren't chosen at random but researched. The profilers theorized someone local, mid-30s to 50s, with a grudge against the town's decline, a person who blended in, perhaps even revered. A teacher, a tradesman, a librarian? The psychological portrait grew darker. The killer likely suffered a profound loss tied to Hollow Brook's economic collapse, a shuttered family business, a parent's suicide. Their crimes were acts of symbolic vengeance, purging those they deemed complicit in the town's moral decay. The victims' posed bodies mirrored childhood trauma. Clara's prayer-like hands echoed religious guilt. Daniel's figurines mirrored toys left at a grave. This wasn't just a killer, it was a mourner, trapped in a ritual of grief. The breakthrough came in 2003, not from forensics, but from a survivor. Eleanor Grant, a 19-year-old waitress, narrowly escaped an abduction after recognizing her attacker's voice, a regular at the diner where she worked. She described a man in his 40s, soft-spoken, with a scar curling like a question mark under his left ear. The sketch matched Garrett Hoyle, a former mill supervisor laid off in 1995 after the factory closure. Hoyle's home, a dilapidated Victorian on the town's outskirts, became a grotesque museum. Basement walls were plastered with newspaper clippings of Hollow Brook's decline. Journals detailed his obsession with cleansing the town of weakness. Forensic botanists matched soil under his boots to each burial site. Most damning was a collection of twine spools, identical to the murder weapon, purchased years earlier from the mill's liquidation sale. His capture was anticlimactic. Hoyle was found at the rail yard, kneeling beside a fresh grave meant for Eleanor. He offered no resistance, only whispering, "It's done," as cuffs closed around his wrists. Hoyle's trial lasted 6 weeks. Prosecutors framed him as a narcissist weaponizing trauma. His defense argued insanity, citing his mother's suicide in the mill's boiler room. The jury rejected it. He received 4 life sentences, dying in prison in 2018 from untreated leukemia. Hollow Brook never recovered. Families moved, businesses shuttered. The case exposed flaws in rural policing, overlooked evidence, delayed forensics. Yet it also revolutionized geographic profiling, emphasizing how killers exploit communal grief. For me, the case lingered. Retired now, I still walk Hollow Brook's empty streets, wondering how many others hide behind facades. Hoyle's shadow taught me that monsters aren't born. They're forged in the quiet cracks of forgotten towns. Understanding killers like Hoyle isn't about empathy, it's about dissection. Profiling cracks the veneer of inhumanity, revealing the fractures beneath. His crimes were a distorted mirror of Hollow Brook's collapse, a reminder that violence festers in silence. Criminal profiling isn't clairvoyance, it's archaeology. Each layer, geography, victimology, ritual, exposes motives buried deep. Hoyle's case proved that even the most elusive killers leave echoes. In the end, Hollow Brook's tragedy isn't just about lives lost. It's about how easily we ignore the cracks until they swallow us whole. The twine, the fog, the silent graves, they're not just evidence, they're a warning.